Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and then back up the very eastern side of it.
But I'm sitting next to both of your shoulders.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. You can, totally that. You can.
Look at you, the same forest. It's been a long day.
They're
Been a long day.
This is it.
Later. Yes, please.
Hey, Chuck.
Hey, Chuck.
Brad.
At some point, you'll uncover an email that I sent you late this afternoon.
Thank you. Look forward to it. Oh, boy. Temperature's really dropping, isn't it?
Winter's here. I'm not ready.
No,
How do the sheep, does it affect them or are they indifferent if they're?
Because if I shear them to their skin, which isn't
oh,
gonna happen.
please.
No, it's not gonna happen. But I do need to shear them, so I'm gonna have to shear them halfway through the wool. It's very tricky.
Oh, to not do it down to that.
You get the,
You do it yourself, you have to
some
help.
of the sheep that.
Me?
Katan sheep.
No, I had a C-section done in February. And she sheared this whole huge belly area. It was 12 degrees out. It was a little warmer in the barn, not much. Of course, and then they're pouring water on it, right? Because they're pouring on all the antiseptic stuff.
Yeah.
They operate on her and then we put her in. I said, don't I need to put a blanket or something? So, no, don't put anything on her and she'll be fine. And she was fine.
We heard.
This is a barn out of the wind, so.
Yeah, and of course, having been operated on, she was in a very small pen.
Yeah.
On its side, so there was no draft.
Two recording devices going. Wow, stereo.
Just to make sure we capture it.
Hopefully Nan's on.
I don't have electricity in the barn, so no heat.
Email group.
But there was a pad, there was a bedding.
Well,
You don't have lights?
Headlamps.
Okay.
the answer, remember the ag meetings with the cup over the.
Hmm?
Remember the ag meetings with the. Cup
Did you
over
get it right?
the device.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you at all.
But sometimes the conservation board that says it all, that's, no strike from them.
I did not
I
get
know,
yours.
it was going like,
I got
it's being recorded, but no striking.
I had to take minutes for ag a lot of times so that, it'd be like, maybe start his meeting and, talked about not a lot of anything.
Hi, Joy, this is Ray. We'll get you an email link here.
It's hard to take minutes and be involved.
You're gonna email it to the Zach
It is
group.
hard.
It's impossible.
I kind of do it in zoning while I'm running
Okay.
the meeting, and it's
Yeah.
just because
Yes.
it's very hard to,
Lose track.
yeah. But I don't think, I haven't had anyone volunteer. to
Did you use the
do it.
ag email address?
And Joy has such a hard time if I don't.
I'm just gonna resend it to the Zag and copy Nan.
Copy me,
Mostly, the decisions.
because I didn't get the one from the ag.
I think the recording devices are wonderful though. I mean, your phone, you could record the meeting on your phone.
Yeah, especially if you want to challenge something. Or litigate something.
Litigate, there you go.
I mean, then you'd have to transcribe.
Yeah,
your
well,
minutes,
now
So you have to
AI
go through the meeting twice.
No, AI will do it for you.
Mm.
So AI, there's all this AI transcription. Again, you should check the AI version, but that's what everyone is. A lot of people use just AI to do that.
Mhm.
And there's these programs that you just.
See, this is a good use of it.
It is, you probably, if it's a legal or, I mean, serious medical issue, I would want to check the transcription as well, and we want to go back and check that. But I think,
In any case, definitely.
yeah,
There you go.
like you want to hear the
Just to
spoken
make
word.
sure the AI hadn't said that you were saluting Hitler or
Yeah,
something.
right,
you know?
you want to hear the spoken word again.
See that was Ken. So you can tell this person. You're do lunch, pretty much. That's what we do every gym. Perfect. It's hanging out in my house. You don't know. We should have to go to the table. We're gross, as long as you had dinner already. Sort of.
It could be the same.
You all qualify soon.
It's been sent twice, it's hung up in my outbox. You wanna try sending an email to Zag and I will give you the Zoom link. I need to go and see it.
And it's the town of Dryden.New York.gov address, right? That's the one.
Yeah, Zag, yeah, zoning advisor.
I thought they got rid of the dot between right and left.
2015, when did you join?
It's great. I've been doing it a while.
It's recorded.
I've never been quite 10 years, but it's been. They're.
Ray recommending it.
Like the typo.
Yeah, I typed it in because it's, I didn't read it all together. The meeting ID.
So I,
Meeting ID is 838-428-4538.
I just pulled it up.
No one said it.
And I got to the point where I'm like, my head is spinning, he said.
No, I'm just telling Tony that.
Yes.
Okay, so you overstayed it and to Tony here.
453.
yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta hang out.
No, they're there. I've been chairing for years, but not because I, you know, that is one of it.
Yeah, for-
Here.
No password.
That one. I'm pretty good at
When they sleep at night.
You want to type in the URL?
Yeah, that's not there. I was confused. I said, had been. So, yeah. Have you seen them?
What is it? US 02.
Yeah, US02 web.zoom.us.
The things you mailed out, right?
/838/428.
He's 4 or 5.
Now, I don't know what. That's the end.
It looks like it's just got the meeting ID on it.
Yeah, it ends in 538. Yep.
Gary Wolf is a sub of a sub of a sub of a sub. That's like all the solar sites. Turns out Caleb was telling me this at one point, and I think this hasn't changed much. There were 5 solar companies in the world. Not most of them, here's farmhouses, Italy. And all the companies you hear about are subs of subs of subs of subs.
Yeah, that's.
And
good.
actually,
If you had good copies. Right, have you sent it off yet?
Gonna send it.
And I think that's probably. It's been used.
I don't think we did.
Yeah, the general housing.
I wasn't, he's not even right. Someone else is like, yeah. Yeah, the solar site, I actually got to meet this guy who was, he was Italian, thought he's just, he's Steve.
As soon as Troy comes in.
This is an old.
It's almost like a solar mafioso.
We talk about it, they zoning comes along and says, no, you can't do that. They don't want to feel, you know, you don't have one house per.
You know, this is with all the regulation, if somebody's already starting in it and understands regulations somewhat and hasn't started in it, it's very
Right.
hard for anybody else to come in,
In 2015,
because these guys
was actually
really know what they're
another
doing.
issue.
They do.
Focus,
Yeah.
what we were gonna do with it, more than anything else.
My solar site, since I considered has 3 different
Okay,
entities that have
so yeah, I'm.
project.
I mean, it's good Nancy's here, so.
And
Yes, yeah, that we, it's just hard to, for people involved in to know what's going on. And that until the final. vote.
Diane?
Hello.
Hello.
That's what.
Sorry about that. There's a town board budget meeting tonight that's using that as a Google Calendar.
Ah, that's what the other meeting is.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah, so we had to scramble here for a minute. Sorry. about
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
Everybody's recording.
Okay.
We are recording, correct?
Blair, I can't.
For sure, there we go.
Okay. On the main room view, people just have a view of the top of my head, but that's okay, I'm on my Zoom here, so people can see me. Well, let's get started, 9 minutes late.
And why don't we do a quick go around for Joy's benefit? So when she'll hear some voices and be able to associate a little bit.
Who's here?
Not that that's
Okay.
super important, but it would be nice.
Well, I'm here.
Chuck Geisler.
Tuck.
Janice Graham. Hi, Joy.
Marie McRae.
Nancy Bunkenbeck.
Chris Morrison,
Brad Will
Craig Anderson.
Bill Griffin.
and Ray Burford. Okay.
Nan Stolzenberg.
All right, quorum check, yes, we have a quorum, there are 5 planning board members in the room, so we do have a quorum, that's good, thank you. What? Okay. Anybody have anything they want to bring up that's not on the agenda? Really, the primary thing tonight is starting to go through the red line, right? So it's. Okay,
That's, yeah.
all right, so let's get right into that.
I have one question regarding the red line.
Okay.
Actually, there's 2. We talked about integrating the design guidelines into some of this. Into some of the,
Okay.
then are we not doing it now? The whole second one.
I know we talked about that, but was that part of phase 1?
Well, we're working on,
What was the law that he was referring to? The crypto?
No, design guidelines, the town design guidelines.
when we
Oh.
introduce design guidelines into some of this.
Yeah, it was not my understanding that that was phase 1, not this
Okay.
phase.
So it'd be later, so.
That was my understanding.
So some of it would be a do-over on this thing?
Well, unless you can see pieces of the design guidelines that need to get into definitions now, that might be appropriate for phase 1, but I think the bulk of design guidelines got pushed off to future
Okay,
phase.
all right, I'm just doing that, and then what about changes to some of the definitions that we had from not working years ago?
Yeah, like accessory,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to address,
I know that's in there,
Yeah.
but what about other ones? You know, it's like parking, we talked about, so anyway,
Yeah,
we
I think
should bring
anything
it
in
up now.
definition should come up now, yeah.
okay.
Okay. Do we want to share something on the screen here? Let's see.
If you want to walk through Nan's red line,
Yep. You want me to bring it up or do you want to bring it up?
I
yeah.
have it up as well.
Nan, do you want to do screen share and walk us
Sure.
through your red line?
Yeah, I mean, you want me to just do like kind of an overview of it? You don't want me to go line by line now? Or what, how do you want to approach the meeting?
Well, you want to start with an overview and then start
Yeah.
going through
Yep.
line by
Okay.
line, and we can, yeah, hopefully we can knock off a good part of it tonight. As
Yeah.
far as accepting.
Oh, you gotta allow me to share my
Yeah,
screen.
or share.
I have no idea how to do that stuff. Sharing screens.
It's easy. Well, I'll share on the screen.
Okay, I got it. It's on now.
There.
Let me make this a little bigger.
Oop.
Is it up on your end?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, the first section, which I think is really important, actually, it's a small piece, but an important piece, and that's really to make sure that the purpose statements of the zoning reflect the vision and goals that were established in the comprehensive plan. Because remember that the comprehensive plan is really a tool to implement the policies established in the plan. So I made some additions to this. This you had a very just general, simple statement. I'm not trying to complicate it, but I'm trying to make it more consistent with what was in the comprehensive plan. So do you want to like talk about that now, or you want me to go on and talk about other things?
Let's, well, I guess let's go into that. A little.
Yeah.
I'll talk about, I think it's fine to do like sections and then, you know, let's talk about this and then
Okay,
we'll go on to the other parts.
okay. So, yeah, so of the language that's in here, you know, really came from the words that were in the comprehensive plan.
The word before, let's see, it comes out open space, and then there's another word, Dryden.
Protects Dryden's,
Oh, that's a protects, okay.
protects Dryden's rural character.
Yeah, I can make it a little bigger on my end. Let's see if that helps.
Yeah, it helps my bad eyes. Whoops.
Yeah.
Are the lights dimmable?
Probably,
Not doable, but we can turn off.
they're not doing.
No.
Ooh,
I don't know if that helps or not.
That helps me, but
doesn't
doesn't
help
help
me,
anybody else.
doesn't help, well,
What's the, if anybody prefers them on, I can punch it again.
Or something in between.
So, you know, I mean, in general, zoning's power and purpose is to protect the general health, safety, and welfare of the community, which is in every zoning law. But the specific things that your comprehensive plan talks about are things like open space, rural character, agriculture, attainable housing, sensitive environmental areas and scenic resources, existing character of the town and its neighborhood, adequate and efficient public infrastructure and facilities, and climate change, which was not in there, but is definitely in your comprehensive plan. So those were the themes that I brought in.
I have a question, Ann. I like the replacement of the word affordable with attainable, which affordable being in the plan. I just wonder if attainable has any objective criteria that planners and other policy people would automatically turn to.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a struggle to find the word to use for what we're trying to do, because affordable is a word that a lot of people in the community will misinterpret and get upset about. I guess the way I would define that would be to make sure that I'd have to go back and look at it, but to make sure that the definition for what attainable housing is uses the language that we would have in an affordable housing definition. So it's talking about, you know, the housing that's available for, you know, the range of incomes based on the median household income of the area. So it's kind of, as long as we use consistent language, we can call it whatever we want, as long as it's defined in the definitions.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like the word attainable. It's affordable.
It's an interesting question. I have not heard of attainable housing before right now. So I'm just wondering, when people are looking at that, are they gonna know how to, besides it ending up in our definition section, anywhere else for reference for understanding what that means, you know, since, you know, I mean, even affordable being, even it's somewhat generic, but still it's a familiar
Right.
catchphrase, but attainable is new to me, that's all.
Yeah, no, I mean, you bring up a really valid point, and I guess it depends on the culture in Dryden. And if everyone is comfortable with the use of affordable and it doesn't conjure up the things that some people conjure in a bad way, then great. I just thought that maybe, I think there must have been something somewhere that triggered me to think maybe a different word would be better, but whatever you are comfortable with.
Okay, well, maybe I'm thinking attainable. So it sounds like it was just shared with me for an AI generated definition, but it's like a donut hole for and almost like a different category than affordable. So because it's between like subsidized or you know, income index, AMI index, and market rate for the in-betweeners. So.
Yeah,
it's
that's called the missing middle. Yeah.
It's different though. It's like, it's not, so in that way, attainable is not a substitute for affordable, so.
And that's,
This is
I don't
important.
think that's how, so this is what we had for the definition for attainable housing. So this is really, you know, kind of a standard definition for affordable housing, but we've just named it attainable. You know, again, if the word affordable is not a buzzword, yes, everyone will know what affordable is, probably more than attainable. But I'm only, you know, going from experience where when you use the word, we're going to allow affordable housing in your neighborhood, some people kind of lose their minds over that.
Yeah, I really like using other words other than any of the buzzwords for any of it. Yeah. It gets away from the standardized objections they have. If we have a word that's not the standardized promotional thing, that they'll come up with something that's not the standardized criticism. I hope.
Conversely, when they go to the definition of attainable here, they're gonna see that, oh, this is the same as what.
Affordable.
Yeah.
So
But it will
they're
make,
gonna be able to get to their argument, no matter how we work it.
but it will make people stop and think for a moment, which is always a good thing.
And some people won't go to the definitions. They'll look it up.
True.
Okay, I guess all I'm suggesting is that it's not a replacement, because it sounds like it's covering a section of income and buyers or renters that is somewhere between affordable and that 30% and an AMI that's 80 to 120%. There's a lot that the attainable is in the middle. It's really not about the 30%. So to me, that sounds, it's brand new to me. I'm not against it or for it. I'm just saying it's new and different. And it's just gonna be, it could cause some confusion because it's different from affordable.
Well, but this is in the, so where we're talking about this right now is in the purpose part, and what the line says is attainable housing options for all. Which I think it's, yes, we have attainable housing defined later, but I think this covers everything. Because it's attainable housing for that 30% is gonna be different than attainable housing for the 60%, right? But I mean, this is really a purpose statement, so I don't know that. But I don't know that there's anything wrong with the way this is written.
Not suggesting there is, but it's because attainable is now being brought up in the purpose statement. That elevates its significance, that's all.
Yeah, and attainable housing in a purpose statement, but more broadly is, you know, you have to have both affordable and available housing. You know, you have to have units that are actually there to buy or rent. So that's also attainable.
Yeah.
Right. And so I guess the question is, looking at this overall purpose statement, are there other changes? So all right, so well, let's stay on that one for a second. I'm fine with keeping attainable housing. Is that what we want to keep it at? Does anybody have any objection to keeping it as attainable housing?
No, I'm good with
I think
it.
it meets the need.
I prefer it.
Yeah, you prefer it, yeah, all right. So are there other changes to what the red line is in this section? Go ahead.
English
Yes.
major change,
Yeah.
Dryden's rural character, it should be possessive.
Dryden.
In the purpose statement, it protects Dryden's rural character, it should be
Oh, there's
possessive.
apostrophe
Yeah,
S,
yeah.
yep.
That it could be before the S.
Yes,
we got it.
yeah.
Apostrophe S,
Yeah.
Dryden's should be apostrophe. Yes.
Got it.
His thumbs are like.
Dryden's a rural character, correct.
Wow. I have
It's
one.
good to have an English person.
Yeah.
like me.
Always.
It is.
Until 10:30, then it becomes.
Exactly. Super annoying. Super annoying.
It's just not the Oxford comment.
I wonder if we couldn't do something with climate change. It's such an old term. It too has been beat to death,
Yeah.
It's okay. If you keep
but
it.
I mean,
How
you know,
about changing climate?
or climate informed zoning, you know, something like that. That's more current.
Change is scientifically accepted.
But it's been around for 10 years and it's been.
You've been around for 10 years.
If you change it to changing climate, then someone doing a search on climate change isn't gonna run across that.
I mean, are we narrowing it? Are we just resilient to climate change, or are we resilient to
Change.
man-made
Genetic change, all
and
change.
natural disasters? What are we resilient for? What are we trying to be resilient to, you know?
And when we say to ensure the town of Dryden is resilient, are we meaning town properties or just in general
Yeah.
criteria for any property? Public or
But
private?
resilient,
It's any property,
Okay.
everybody.
every day in the town.
Yeah.
But you know, resiliency is more than just climate change.
It is.
That's why, you know, if you do the inform, you know, it broadens it out even more, so. That seems to be a new zoning.
Threats to the environment.
I just say ensure that town Dryden is resilient.
To what, no?
Everything.
Keep it open to interpretation.
To the zoning.
Then it's a Spanish Inquisition.
Overregulation.
Yeah.
So I just, you know. We're trying to make a document that 10 years from now will still be current,
Right.
you know? So I mean,
And I would go back to, and I don't have it open in front of me, but we could look it up. I would like to see how your comprehensive plan termed that. Again, we're trying to be consistent between the
Yeah.
policies of the plan and what the zoning is trying to accomplish.
Well,
Not
looks
that
like-
you couldn't just end it at resilient, you know, to ensure that the town of Dryden is resilient covers a whole lot of things. But climate change, I added it in because climate change was specifically something that you wanted to address.
Well, a lot was taken out. I mean, I look at a lot of crossed out lines, so it's already been kind of simplified. So you have put in a period after climate change. Seems like it's,
she added climate change.
yeah.
Well, and the reason I took
Aggressive
all
approach.
of this out was that this I found, so it originally read it was the black up here, so it was to promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the community, conserve land, natural resources, and under the laws of New York State. And then the how we're going to do it: establish zones, density of development, size of yards, and those I just don't think are. It's like a goal statement. We don't write the solution in the goal.
Right.
So I took those out as specifics.
How about we just say against environmental threats?
I think climate change kind of works. It's under threat right now as to whether it even exists with certain sector of society. I don't think it would be bad to say we believe in it and we're gonna protect ourselves.
But it's more than just climate change. You're gonna be resilient against man-made issues and natural issues.
So climate change is man-made.
Some of the environmental threats are things that are just
Oh, I
existing,
agree.
have been existing, maybe
You
even
can
for
add that.
1,000 years. And yet we want to be resilient against them.
So could we say threats including climate change? So we're calling out featuring climate change, but
Well, you could do
acknowledging other.
natural threats and man-made.
So in the farmland protection agriculture part, the comprehensive plan says. Regenerative agriculture practice which aims to improve topsoil. Enhance biodiversity, enhance resiliency to climate change. Hold on.
I really like the environmental threats because that also includes things like invasive species, things that are changing our soils, it covers a much greater range of things that actually we have as threats.
We could say environmental threats and
Or
climate change.
climate change and other
Well,
environmental.
if you
threats,
really
yeah.
want to add the buzzword in, but I mean, environmental change and environmental threats includes
Mhm.
climate change. And I for one like to get rid of buzzwords because it just invites harassment and upsetness that, you know,
Wow.
but yet the people who would be upset about climate change would accept that there are environmental threats.
Or man-made and.
And man, they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
have this thing against a word that's been used by a group that they find oppressive.
I think.
Well, they're gonna find that
Getting
out.
that zoning always upsets somebody, no matter what.
Well,
Regardless of what it
government
is.
always upsets somebody. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I just don't see the point in advancing and enhancing and promoting upsetness.
I say bring it on.
I was just looking for a word.
Well,
that
you guys are
would
gonna
take
have
you
to be
to another decade, you know,
public hearings.
That's fine.
because here we are, we've been using this
So
for 10 years and. You know, think about how broad that, if the resilience, I mean, the resiliency, there's so many things you can do with resilience.
The other way to put it is, so there's this sort of forward in the comprehensive plan that says, the goal of this update was to address issues and concerns that were not addressed in the 2005 comprehensive plan, such as sustainability and climate resilience. So by switching it around to climate resilient, instead of saying
That, yeah.
resilience, what does it say here? Resilient against the threats of climate change, but you know, maybe
Just
sort of
repeat that, yeah.
repeat that around, such as, you know, to ensure the town of Dryden.
Cause that broadens what you're
Yeah.
trying to do.
So you're getting rid of the environmental threats.
Well, we could say, but instead of saying, but this is saying climate resilience. So saying climate resilience would get, you know, it doesn't matter what's causing the climate issue, whether it's man-made climate change or whatever, right? It's.
But the environmental threats aren't necessarily affecting climate, and yet they're environmental threats.
True.
I'd really like to see that in there
Environmental threats.
somehow. I don't care where you put it.
So more like the AI water and electricity and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff, and we're getting all kinds of things introduced from, you know, and we're going to continue to have invasives of all different kinds, microbial and bacterial, as well as, you know, and it's much more than climate. Like H1N1.
But is that really relevant to zoning?
Yeah. Could be.
It could be.
Could be.
To ensure the town of Dryden is resilient against the threat that against environmental threats. And
including climate change.
you could say including climate change or environmental threats. Environmental threats or a changing climate. Yeah, either one. Yeah, I think that's fine. I like, yeah. I don't have a problem putting environmental threats in there. Anybody else have an issue with that?
Including climate change.
So resilient,
That could be, yeah.
Dryden's resilient against
Both
environmental.
things covered by,
Yeah,
right,
environmental.
not
threats,
including.
including climate change. I like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Or we can zone against more game farms, pheasant ranches, and still deal with flooding.
yeah.
Cabin in the woods.
Well, it also points towards things like our, you know, our data center law and other stuff, right? Is that, you know, we're looking at doing things that sort of help address these issues. But yeah.
Yeah, it does broaden it. It does give you some more, you know, more of a foundation for a wider variety of things to address.
Right. Okay.
Okay, anything else on these for now?
And the purpose?
No.
Okay. All right. Onward.
So, there were, and you may have some more, as you mentioned, but, the list of words that were added were, most of them were, also are identified in the audit that I did earlier this year, I guess it was.
Mhm.
And then there were a few as I was writing that, oh, we need to define that too. So there's a few others that are new that I've added in. And you know, if there are ones that you know have been problematic, I might not know that they were problematic for you. So certainly any input that you have on those. So I don't know if you want to go one by one or.
I have comments. I'm Janice, and I tried to put my comments, which I'll send you in the document, but it wouldn't save it for share.
Oh, okay.
So, the accessory structure, I felt it seemed unnecessarily convoluted, like when I read a feature above or below the surface of land or water, I'm like, huh? For a minute, we've defined structure.
Mhm.
A structure calls out a pool, which is, I think, what we're talking about there. So my suggestion would be to simply say a structure detached from a principal building located on the same lot. That intro seems to me, and I don't understand why we need, it felt convoluted and harder to wrap oneself around.
Let's just see what we.
So it's a
define.
building or feature for use, occupancy, or ornamentation, whether installed on, above, or below the surface of land or water. So if you go to structure, right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't, without a lot of thinking about that offhand, it seems you wanna
It seems clearer. I mean,
clear,
I'll
make
send
it
you my-
clearer, yeah. So you're saying so this all would come out,
Yep, and I'll send you my note on it, but yeah, so we'll just read a structure detached from a principal building, get that whole beginning clause, because in structure, we've
Mhm.
got these things below the surface of land or water,
Yeah.
we've got them
Okay.
covered. And then it's just easier to understand, and in this one and in the next one, the word customarily incidental. I'm wondering what that adverb adds to this except potential ambiguity, so I would suggest deleting it. Unless there's some good reason to have that adverb in there.
a lawyer might, you know, have a definitive answer for you on that one, but that is, you know, customarily, I mean, certainly, I think incidental is very important.
Right, no, I'm just
Or
talking about
an-
customarily incidental, so I imagine someone coming in front of the zoning board and saying, well, it's not customary, and then getting into this whole thing of what is which is what we do there, and so I'd like to get rid of it.
Eliminate that
both-
argument,
In
right?
both accessory, because I don't know what it means exactly,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, right, so.
I mean, it's a fancy way of saying usually.
Right, but again, I don't like usually either, I would just.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna, that's up to the group, if you wanna, I mean, that is the kind of term of phrase used for these things. You know, when this gets to having your town attorney look at it, I don't know whether they would say anything about that one or not, but I mean, if you wanna just take out customarily and say incidental, I would definitely leave incidental.
But yeah, we definitely.
I'm not arguing with incidental, I'm just with the adverb, it just opens it to. Strange interpretation, whether it's usual or often, because then someone comes, well, it's not often, or this is not usual, and you end up.
Yeah.
Getting down this
Fighting
rabbit
over
hole
the
of trying to
language.
understand what this means, and
Yeah.
since I don't know what it means, I'd like to get rid of it in this and in accessory use.
How's everyone else feel?
I'm fine with that.
Great general agreement here.
Okay,
I have a question. And maybe I missed one of the meetings that was discussing it, but. Accessory dwelling unit, was that discussed or considered? I mean, it's such a,
Yeah, you had, I think it's,
Yep.
is it under dwelling? I'm
Yeah,
trying to
we-
remember.
It's in there, but it's
Yeah,
not
it's in
under
there.
A.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's, everyone has a little bit different, dwelling unit here, it's down in accessory, dwelling,
accessory-
comma,
yeah,
accessory
thank you.
unit.
Thank you. So that begs the question, is tiny home in here?
Yeah, it's
It's in there.
it's, I don't know if it's
Four.
a separate line, but it might be,
400 square
it's,
feet,
yeah,
yeah.
it is defined here.
With a loft?
Well, let's wait till we get to it and we'll go over
Yeah.
it.
yeah,
Okay.
we get down to it.
Brad's anxious.
Adaptive
Not-
use.
It just saves me scrolling back
housing.
and forth and getting you all dizzy from
Yeah,
it going
yeah.
back and forth like that.
Let me look at John's thing here.
I had questions on building envelope and footprint, so
Okay,
coming up,
Yeah, me too, and build to line.
build the line I got, but not the.
Yeah.
The foot of the
I just,
anything on these?
ag hospital, no, I thought that was a good ad.
Here's our definition of housing, back to attainable housing.
Mhm. That was good.
Oh, can you scan back up to A?
Which one?
Oh, I saw agritourism that was added somewhere.
Yep, right here.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I just toured last week and Bill, you were there. The agrivoltaics. Is that anywhere in here or is it something that's, no, not agrivoltaics. That's more of a function where you have sheep grazing under
Like well
panels.
where?
That's what I'm talking about. That's not agritourism.
Yeah, I don't,
In
Yeah.
ag,
Just to
agrivoltaic.
promote it or allow it, no.
yeah, you can promote it and allow it or require it. I don't believe that was on our list of things to do for phase one, but again, it's totally up to you.
Okay, just.
I made a note of tiny houses to look into and agrivoltaics. I can just, let me just do a quick,
No, is it?
Well, it's a zoning code.
Right, but we're doing.
yeah, so we have not used agrivoltaics in this law anywhere.
Okay. It was interesting.
There is a whole solar law.
Yeah.
right,
So maybe that's
Are you
that's sort of
changing
that
that?
finds its way into that.
Yes, yeah,
Well, the
because your solar
would-
law is separate, standalone law, not in zoning, right?
No, it's now in zoning. I think it's.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Well,
But
you know,
it's-
again, we
it's
have
not part of
this,
this phase, right?
yeah, we have this, kind of pull and tug about what's gonna be done now, what's gonna be done
Right,
later.
right,
Yeah.
right. So it's, I mean, we will be reviewing the solar law as
Yeah.
part of this, but it's not part of this, which is where I think the agri.
That's where it should go.
It was
Photovoltaics
interesting. It came
belongs.
up last week at
Yeah.
our conference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just bringing it up here.
What was your conference?
Land use. It was a 3-day conference.
Oh.
Greek Peak.
Animal hospital. What are we on now? We already reviewed attainable housing. Does anybody have?
And this was just crossed off because it was very confusing about, and I guess I kind of understood the difference between a bed and breakfast establishment and a bed and breakfast home, but it seemed awfully complicated to me.
Well, basically it comes down to the small and big. So one or two bedrooms, it's the smaller home. Establishment is when you get bigger than that.
So it should be two.
Well, this was, yeah, well, that's up to you. I mean, is it important in your experience of working with bed and breakfast that you make that distinction though?
If it's a bed and breakfast that doesn't have a live-in, family or proprietor, then it's like an inn.
Yes, that's not a bed and breakfast. Bed
Correct.
and breakfast by New York State definition is a owner occupied I don't actually know, dwelling, yeah,
Just
so
trying to-
having a
just trying to-
resident host, so these are owner occupied.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand the difference between establishment and home.
It looks
Again,
like
it's a
size,
size
it's
thing.
size, yeah.
It's size, you
Well-
know, this, not more than 10 occupants, both, for the establishment and not more than 4 occupants, in the bed and breakfast home.
And the allowable uses table, there's different zones that these are distinguished. Just where you can build them.
So if you do glamping, where would that fit in there?
Yeah, that's not a bed and breakfast.
That's something new.
I think
that-
there's a definition.
I mean, some people make its own definition for glamping and make it its own thing. Some people put it under camping. But anyway, if you want to keep the bed and breakfast home, you know, I was going with this one because this matches what the state definition is pretty closely. This one is different, but if you want to have 2 categories of it, that's fine. We'll keep it back in. We'll put it back in.
Why is this the home or a two-family home? The smaller, the one that seems to fit in the smaller is allowing a two-family home and the establishment in a private single-family home. It's a
That
little,
doesn't make sense.
it doesn't quite make sense, the bed and breakfast home to me. I understand that it was a size issue, but when you read it more closely, the size issue doesn't actually make sense.
Yeah, and it's unusual to have a bed and breakfast in a 2-family home.
Right.
But you know,
Does
to me,
the-
they were confusing to have two of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the establishment pretty much covers everything that would
I mean, it
exist.
says up to occupant, up to
Yeah.
10 occupants.
Okay.
But I think to Ray's point, what it was doing was like there were certain zones that you could have a bed and breakfast home, but not a bed and breakfast establishment. So you could have something with up to 4 occupants, but
Right,
not something with up to 10 occupants.
right.
So we
Ray,
wouldn't-
has that ever have people come to do a bed and breakfast home?
Yes, yep,
Isn't it a use table issue?
yeah,
It
so
is
we
a
have to go back into the use table and change it if we take.
Yeah, and I think I took bed and breakfast home out of the use table, but if it's important, we'll put it back in.
It's a category people have applied under. Cause there is less scrutiny on the bed and breakfast home. It's easier to get one of those uses.
Right.
So I think that was the whole intent originally.
Yeah, well, do you all want to put it back in?
Are they 2-family?
Yeah, I'd get rid of that
We've
two-family.
never had a two-family.
I would say, I would make the definition essentially the same as the bed and breakfast establishment, except for some of this, right?
For the sign.
And get rid of two-family.
You're right.
I would get rid of.
So that's why I said
Yes.
if you make the 2 definitions match,
Except for size.
except for size. Although, let's see.
Definition of a two-family home.
Yeah, do you really want a 2-family home to be a bed and breakfast?
No.
That's what we're saying.
No, that's what we're saying. We're saying take,
Take that
in other
out.
words, keep the bed and breakfast home, but take the 2-family piece out of it.
I see a whole bunch of those two-family homes being built more recently. Seems like be a great way to have a bed and breakfast.
Right, but then you're kind of using the other,
Mm-hmm.
the one side of the duplex, then it becomes maybe more of an establishment. It can get complicated by adding two-family into the home.
And I don't think that
think
2-family,
it's
I don't think that's consistent with the state definition. I'd have to look it up,
I
but
agree. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's just single families.
Yeah, that's why I would.
so I think. I think, Nan, what I'm hearing is the other thing that the establishment one has that the home does not is that the established one says there has to be a. Where was it? Oh, with common dining and leisure rooms. I don't see that in the home.
Cause it was for 2-family
Because, well, no,
before the other one.
because it says a dwelling,
Yeah.
dwelling having a resident host. In the primary dwelling of a private single family, if you take the 2-family out,
Mhm.
with at least one and not more than 2 rooms are provided for overnight accommodations.
So this is the kids have left home and someone's letting the 2 extra.
They're using their extra
Right,
bedrooms as a.
Right,
as a-
that's exactly,
Right.
yes, it's a different thing than the other.
I think that's fine. I think just keep bed and breakfast home, but take out the or 2 family home. So it's or into it, so it's gonna be primary dwelling of a private single family home. In which at least 1 and not more than 2 rooms are provided.
Yeah.
I think that's the only real change there.
Yeah, and keep the definition.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Okay,
Okay,
battery storage battery energy storage.
so there's several, and there's, you know, it's like solar, there's a million different ways you can define solar
Yeah.
facilities too, so. There's a couple different things that unless I make it smaller, they won't all fit on the screen at once. That might be too small for you to read.
What John have to say about it? I'm sure he had something to say.
Ironically, nothing on that, on the definitions.
No.
Yeah, nothing on the demo.
Nan, I'm wondering, where does battery energy storage management system, how does that fit in? Because the BESS is a known animal or quantity or function, but I'm not familiar with the management part.
Yeah, I mean, these, you know, it came from the New York State model for battery energy storage regulations. And my instructions were to use that as the kind of the basis for moving forward. So I added that in because that's included in the model, their model law. And it's basically a component of the whole system, that it's the electronic part of it that protects the storage from, it's a safety and, you know, monitoring high temperatures and things like that. That's a component of a battery energy storage system, and it's used later on in the text. The words battery energy storage management system is used, so I felt it needed to use a definition for it.
Thank you.
So the tier 1 and tier 2, this definition comes right from the model. It doesn't mean you have to stick with these definitions, but that was my instructions from the notes that I had from our meetings and the discussions, so you can change it in any way you want. I don't especially like in the solar law, I don't especially like the tier 1 and tier 2, and every community you go to has a different terminology that's used, and some use the state tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3 system, and others don't, but I figured that was a good place to start your discussions at least.
Mhm. Okay, what do we think? I think keeping these in line with the state for now is, I think, the best way to do it.
Nan, I'll just say there's a spacing issue, just again, this annoying person here, with both battery energy storage management system and the next one. If you just look there, at least on my document, they needed extra spaces in there.
You mean in between the two?
The words, no, see how storage management system isn't, there's not a space between some of those words.
Storage management, yeah.
Yeah, they're just, you just need some spaces that.
Yeah, I think they are there, but I don't know.
Okay, this,
I'll-
that's okay. It doesn't look like, so if you look at management system storage, it looks like the one above. It doesn't look like there's any spaces between management and
Oh,
storage.
there are, if I pull it up above, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good. Well, Did we come up
It's
on
just
that?
not it's not, you're right, it's doing the same thing on my screen, it's not displaying quite
okay,
right.
Okay,
If I,
good.
but if I
Yeah.
mouse over and it shows me the actual, like,
Okay,
close it up,
great.
it actually, they are there. All right, best management practice, this one kind of threw me, I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
So best management practices is a word that's used a lot in a lot of different in a lot of different places. It shows up a lot in stormwater management regulations. It shows, so it's a lot. This is a lot of water related thing, but somewhere later on we used the term best management practice. It might have been in the, I don't know, I'd have to search the document to find. So again, I added in words that were used, but that might not be
On the AIS.
totally understood.
Yeah, have things related to agriculture. It's in agriculture a lot.
Okay,
Mhm.
And I went online to try to refresh myself on what it meant and how broadly it would apply. And to my surprise, people were really picky about whether or not there was an S on practice. So practices, which is shown in the parentheses,
Oh, yes, okay.
people get grumpy about that.
that's true, it should be
Okay.
best management practices, right? Yeah.
Yes, because it includes many different things that you can do.
Right, okay.
And she had the S in the abbreviation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, right. Good catch.
Good catch. All right. Buffer strip, I think is what is next.
Yeah, I mean, buffer strips are not just a row of densely planted shrubs and trees. So you can have a buffer strip of native, natural vegetation that's left behind. So it's
Right.
more than just landscaped areas.
Yeah, I like the more expanded
Yeah,
definition.
that's good.
Okay, any other?
I've wondered with buffer strips in particular, should, and maybe this isn't the right forum for this, but when we're requiring people to have a buffer strip, with the whole solar panels or what have you, I feel we should be specifying that it's got to be indigenous plants and not just some hybrid that they find that grows quickly
Right.
and covers.
Yeah, I mean, we could add in here landscaped with native vegetation.
So we tried that with solar
didn't work.
pieces that went in.
Yeah, we basically have a list of 30 species that can be used for
Right.
the most common invasives,
Right,
but we don't specify it has to be indigenous.
right, but there was an issue with, because when we did the special use permit for the two solar farms, the two big ones. I thought that they put a plan on there that they had to go with indigenous. And that utterly failed.
It failed because they didn't follow it or they couldn't find the right
No,
plants.
because they planted stuff and it just didn't, it was either eaten or
Deer candy.
or
It just died.
just died. And then you have, and here's a good example, is you got, we required, what's his name, Belisario to put some plantings along Route 13 there where he's got that contractor yard.
Yeah.
And what he used there, that's all like variations on willows, which are not native.
Right. Hybrid willows.
I think they look pretty good
Mhm.
and they grow fast, but and they're not invasive, right? Because there's a difference between an invasive.
Some of that issue is because that was site plan review from the board.
Right.
The town board changed, saw a different drawing, so.
Right.
So there was a change in there from,
Oh, there was?
I believe,
Okay, all right.
Before you go,
because he had pine tree, he had some
Some
evergreens in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
think
the
he
big
did.
ones, and then he had stuff on each side of it, and
Yeah.
I was told that it got changed.
Well, and then remember, we had Evan Carpenter come and talk about wanting to do willow,
Mhm.
certain hybrid willows to help mask the solar
Yeah,
farms.
Cemetery. yeah.
Right, by the cemetery and all that. And so I guess my only reason I'm saying this is because if we put in here that they need to be indigenous plants, is that gonna,
It differs from the solar.
is that gonna cause us a problem later?
It narrows the
Right.
possibilities, so I wonder if the important thing would. Insert non-invasive.
I would say non-invasive.
Yeah.
I like the idea of putting non-invasive in, because we don't want people planting knotweed,
Yeah.
If
right?
you want to restrict it further, I would suggest you get a landscaper to come and give you some advice, Kiva Landscape or something. I'm sure they have lists of wonderful plants that would grow in whatever environment and.
Well, no, I agree, but that's why I say if we limit it to, if we say non-invasive, I think that addresses the concern in here is that because, like I said, we don't want people planting things like knotweed or any of these other things which are considered invasive species.
And while
So you
I'm
could just-
here and I can say something, I want to say that if it ever comes up, they're talking about anything more on that solar farm on Turkey Hill.
Mhm.
Nothing should be tall enough to block the view. That's the
Absolutely right.
view in
Yeah.
the county.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to be planting smaller trees that I was told they were not going to grow more than 20 feet high. And they've got white pine in there. That is not small. And the whole bottom section is all white pine. And I'm thinking I'd rather see the solar, of course.
I would
don't mind the
too.
solar things,
I agree with you.
But if that gets destroyed, that's
Yeah.
so many people use that as a view shed for
Yeah.
so many things. And it's on its way to being destroyed.
I haven't been up, I didn't realize that. I'll have to go up there and take a look.
Too slow, too fast, boy, we just can't get it right.
So anyway, the only thing I would say in buffer strip is that we should, I would like to see something, I agree with.
So it could say a strip
Bill.
of land left in its natural state, or if landscaped with non-invasive. You can just switch that around and then put those,
Just stick
yeah.
non-invasive in there somewhere, yeah. I think
we would just switch those two
Yeah,
clauses
yeah, I
around,
agree.
make it easy.
I'm sorry, you did a good job of there.
And you-
It's covering up the fact that they're filling in a wetland.
Can you also, and I noticed all your things, the
Which they would
purpose of it is to minimize noise, dust, visual and other impacts. I guess the other impacts are gonna be the very important water impacts,
Mhm.
because buffer strip is used. You're gonna be running into that wherever you're building near a wetland. And that's a very important place to have buffer strips, and it's for water protection.
So you want to add water protection in here?
Well, I don't know, I'm bringing that up, do you think, it says other impacts, so it's there, but
This is
you
the
know,
buffer.
having been on, it's a buffer,
It's a buffer.
it's a buffer. It's okay,
But still, if water's an issue, willows just suck it up, right? So
well, that's
maybe-
okay.
maybe,
No, because it's not that, you want the water flow to be slow and regulated, the trees are going to do, that's why you want the trees there. And if you're gonna be planting, willows grow best in
As a
places that are
buffer
wet.
strip.
And the way they buffer it, among other things, is, if a massive amount of water comes in that would destroy the stream and make it too muddy, that the willows are gonna tend to pull it up, that's fine.
if you have an abundance of water.
That's fine. And
But
if you
have
don't have an abundance of water, they take it up and they hold it, but it'll eventually come back.
And it won't take it from other areas that need it.
I don't know, I don't think,
Okay.
you're not worried about that.
Okay, I won't worry about it. One less thing to worry about. Okay,
Are we good with this? Okay.
Yep.
So Nan, on building size, on the next one, building,
Yep,
you crossed out the 150.
yes.
So- So an inhabitable building has to be at least 200 square feet.
This doesn't say habitable building, this says
Building, yeah, so I don't know what.
Yeah, I just thought so if someone put in a small garage or a small shed, it's still a structure. And it's still a building, but if it was, 10 by 10, it's not considered a building, and I just thought that was problematic in the language that's used. It is a building. I didn't know why you limited it to bigger than 150 square feet. A building is a building, no matter how big it is.
Okay,
Are your horse sheds, buildings then, the ones you built at the farm?
No.
So we have structures that have to stay out of setbacks, but we don't say buildings that stay out of setbacks. So that's why the 150 was
the
in
one
there.
fifty, yeah, because that's, you don't need a permit under. 100.
Actually, 144 is the
144.
building code, so we should take
Yeah,
every
make that-
spot that says 150 and make it 144.
Yes.
144, you know, yeah.
Yeah, this should match the building code.
Yeah.
Well, and we changed structure to be 144.
Structure's a
I
different
guess I
thing.
just didn't,
And the structure
Well,
spans
I see that
greater than 144 feet.
there's some kind of contradiction here too, because like, for instance, a carport is a structure, but it's not enclosed.
So it's not a building.
So it's not a
but
building.
it's covered, it's
But this
covered.
says the preferred term
Covered.
is structure, that's what I'm talking about.
It's covered or enclosed, so a deck would not be considered a building
But it's
If
still,
it's not,
Okay, it's a
if
carport,
it's
a
uncovered,
building,
if it
if
doesn't
it's
have a roof.
uncovered.
but it's still a structure.
Right.
it's still a structure. But I'm just wondering, why does it say the preferred term is structure? Why muddy the waters there? Just stick to building. That's what.
That was in there.
Yeah,
She didn't change that.
I know, well, yeah,
I
maybe
get
it should
I
not
get
be in
yeah.
there. Suggest.
And I think that if you look at we would find lots of instances in the text further on where either building is used or structure is used.
Mhm.
So, I mean, this is kind of making it, we could simplify this and for building, make it say, see structure. So they're one and the same and interchangeable.
That makes
That
sense.
might be the
Yeah,
simplest.
that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then a carport can be defined.
And
But is a
regular,
swimming pool is a structure,
If it's over 3 feet tall.
Yeah,
right?
Above ground, yeah.
But it's not a building.
Right.
Well, I guess if you're using building to mean structure. I guess that's one thing, but I guess, so the question becomes, are there cases where there's a different connotation from building and structure?
Well, a fence, if it's over 6 feet, is a structure.
Right,
right.
but it's not
an antenna,
right. So the question becomes, are those,
It's excluded from our structure definition.
but if it's taller,
We
it
treat
becomes a structure, yeah.
so I guess what I'm saying is, if you go to one definition of a structure, what's the difference between a fence and a house?
A fence under 6 feet is.
I know a house, you start getting under dwelling, so now then you're defining a
Are
dwelling.
you
right?
talking about fences that are solid, or are you including the deer net fences?
Well, I think the way the structure thing is written, if it's more than 10 feet high or more than 8 feet high.
And it
it's
doesn't
considered-
matter if it's
More
a
than 6
net,
feet.
More than 6 feet high is considered a structure.
even if it's a net going around.
I think the
Yeah.
definition is it's
The poles are 6 over.
Yeah, I think as a fence is a fence.
fence is 6 feet, it's.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they are sometimes used interchangeably, but I think there are things that are buildings that I would say all buildings are structures, but not all structures are buildings.
Buildings, right, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Why do you want to put restrictions on tall fences? What's the point?
So fences up to 6 feet can be built right up to the property line. Do you really want to see a 10-foot fence on your neighbor's fence at your property line?
Yes,
So I think that's why.
I think that's fine. I think that's fine. I think it's certainly an 8-foot fence to make it deer proof, yeah.
There are many who would love that.
I don't see the point in restricting it.
I think the history of that is that
How'd we get there?
it's, yeah, maybe in rural areas, it might work better, but in hamlets and villages and small lots where residences are close, it kind of creates a very different kind of neighborhood and streetscape.
Well, if the problem is being able to see through, and I can understand some people might want to be able to look at their neighbors in their pool.
But the
That
knot holes are full.
you could say, I mean, you could say that it can't be solid more than above 6 feet. And then to prevent deer, you add single stranded wire or net or something. Single stranded wire would do it.
Yeah.
Well, let's add that to our list and wait till we get there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
we'll talk about fences when we get to fences.
Okay.
So do you want to go back to what you had? How do you want to treat the building?
Ray, you see it more than anybody.
Yeah,
The 150 should be 144.
144.
Yeah, as long as we get rid of the contradictions, that's
The
the
one
one thing.
44.
Yeah.
so it should be 140, yeah, so put it back, but at 144, not 150.
Yeah, that way it goes with the use.
That way it matches
Yeah.
the building code.
Mm.
Well, and I think we have to, because now let me just, because the next two definitions are building envelope and building footprint.
Mhm.
And why is it not structure envelope and structure?
Right, right. Yes, you're right.
Structure of the-
Fence
Yep.
doesn't have a footprint.
It does a little one.
Building area of a structure, so I think having the building, I think we still need the building definition. Like we just talked about, but then I think that ties into the next ones.
144, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
we're good on that.
Yep. Yep.
So building envelope,
Looks fine to me.
yeah, but an envelope usually doesn't include driveway. You know, well, and a septic. An envelope of the building is the envelope of the building.
Correct.
That's the building footprint.
It's under-
The building footprint is just the building, but the building envelope,
But the envelope, you've got, at the end there, you've got driveway.
yes. I think that in the context, I mean, you know, architects would probably disagree with this, but in the context of planning, the concept of a building envelope on, say, a subdivision is the location on the parcel that is going to be built and covered with something.
That you can disturb the ground. Right? Because if
Yes.
you think about the Mill Street subdivision that we did, right? In that subdivision, we defined a lot of building envelopes.
Is that what term we used? Do
Is
No,
that
it
the
was
term we
like-
use?
It was building site.
you remember the term that's on your plan?
What was
Mill
it
Creek?
called?
Buildable area.
Buildable
They
area?
call it buildable area, but really,
And we
what
located-
she's talking about is that the building envelope is really that. It's where can you disturb? Because remember, that's a conservation subdivision, right? So it's where can you disturb the ground to put in things like
The well and the septic.
the well and septic, the driveway, the building
We
belt,
located all that.
beds, right? Any of that stuff. It's really,
I think buildable area is much more clear. Buildable envelope literally has two completely different meanings.
Yeah.
building envelope. okay?
Yes, building envelope is, when I talk about building envelope, I talk about the walls,
Yeah.
the roof, that's the envelope.
Well, that-
Maybe
Yeah,
that's-
I mean, I think the
Finding a
architects
footprint.
would look at building envelope differently than we are looking at it in this, you know, on a land use perspective.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, but I'm also suggesting that you want
Let's
to be
separate.
specific. I think building,
Change the term.
buildable area, to me, is much more descriptive.
Yeah, I would agree.
But man, the person talking is an architect, so.
I gathered that.
So I think that's a good,
Just
good
change it
compromise.
to
Yeah.
buildable area, yeah.
Buildable area
Clear?
where,
It's just, yeah,
Different-
exactly.
Different term.
Building footprint
I have issues.
issues, okay.
We all.
That is building setback limit is the line we drew on Mill Creek.
So,
Building setback limit. So.
and Nan,
what-
I've sent you these
Listen to what they
comments
use
in a
for
written
that.
form, but I would delete the clause including attached projections. But, because it's then spelled out in the next sentence.
Mhm.
And I would also be more specific in the next sentence, and I would revise it to read projections attached to the principal residence that are open at the sides but roofed such as decks, patios, carports, gazebos, and balconies shall be included in the building footprint. I found that,
Mhm.
it just, again, it was the including attached protections we don't need because we're gonna then define that. And that it would be the more specific, the better and clear.
And I would question the uncovered decks of 30 inches. 'Cause it's
Well,
still-
that was added because at one of our previous meetings, that was discussed.
Yeah.
But it's still a,
There was
Part of the
something
building.
because above that grade, you have to have a permit, right, Ray?
Yeah.
That's why we did that, because anything above 30, you've got to get a building permit and.
I don't have to get a building permit for a deck that's less than 30 inches off the ground.
That's what Dave told me.
No, you don't have railings on a deck.
Again, that's the distinction, is the railing requirement.
You know
Yeah, I
that.
think so.
Yeah, you don't have to have a railing on a deck that's 30 inches
Okay.
or a set of stairs,
You have to get a building permit.
but you still gotta get a building permit.
So you have a 12-inch deck.
Wait a minute, no.
Yes.
You're in luck.
Uh,
When can we start?
What about ramps?
No, I think a deck is, if it's got a footing under it, is part of the structure of the building. So I think I would take the 30 inches out, that whole
So not including an uncovered.
uncovered decks
Okay.
of 30 inches, yeah. That
So-
would-
And
So uncovered decks are not included in the building footprint?
That's what's there now, if they're 30 inches.
What if I have an uncovered deck that I attach to the second floor of my house? Shouldn't that be part of the, and you got posts going down to the ground?
Oh, it should be, it's part of the footprint, yeah.
Yeah,
But it says, but that one says they're not.
Well, and projections attached to the principal residence
Yeah,
is what I was having. That are open at the sides but roofs, such as decks, patios, carports, gazebos and balconies. That patio that the deck you're talking about would actually be,
so a patio is land, well, if it's covered, it's part of a.
right, they'll be included in the building.
But if
but if it's not covered,
It's part of landscaping. To get a patio
a patio, an uncovered patio would be landscaping,
is landscaping,
but an uncovered deck,
that should come out
an uncovered deck should be considered. part of the
Regardless of
footprint.
height, I guess.
regardless of height,
Yeah.
You have a,
concrete slab. and-
No, I mean,
Put a
is
roof
that,
over it.
I'm just wondering, does that,
Great.
You have a roof. You have a
yeah,
roof.
so your building footprint is roofed things, right?
Pretty much an attached roof,
Yeah.
attached.
I think that's it, that's
Oh,
that's
what
what
it is. Something to-
Yeah.
Something to the ground.
roofed and attached, when you do a patio on the ground, it's not actually attached to the house.
Well,
Right,
and I mean, so you could have a patio adjacent and the door from the house goes out onto.
on the patio,
yeah.
the patio is not considered part of the footprint.
Right, and now if I put a roof on it,
It
if
is.
I have a roof that is not attached to the house.
Now. it's-
Well, then that would be a structure.
And if it's in the front.
A lot of little 10 by 10 stuff.
You're right. Yes, right, so.
This is the zoning preservation. Yes.
So we're gonna take out the uncovered decks less than 30 inches.
I would take uncovered dust less than 30 inches off of there, yes, because I think,
Sorry, Brad.
And I-
I mean, I'll just put it this way, I have, now, my pool deck actually is more than 30 inches off the ground, so it would still be covered here, but it is an uncovered deck. It should be part of the building footprint. Even if it wasn't 30 inches.
Oh, yeah,
it
right,
should be part of
because it
the
has
building.
footings under it. and
'Cause it has
everything.
footings
Yeah,
under it,
it's
right.
Attached to the ground. yeah,
Right,
so
and it is attached to the building.
Yeah.
So it should be,
That's how Mr. Franklin looks at it.
yeah, okay.
So I also would define in that next sentence, instead of saying covered patios, carport, saying projections attached to the principal residence that are open at the sides but roofed, such as all these things
Mhm.
shall be included.
Oh,
Because,
those examples, yeah.
right, those are examples, but we've defined what we're talking about,
Right.
these projections, so.
Great to have an editor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, and I guess what this does is this covers even things that are cantilevered, right?
Yes.
Cause,
Yeah.
cause a
Yeah.
cantilevered projection off the side of a building should be part.
And we talked about that
Yes,
before,
we did.
exactly,
It's
so
an
that,
overhang.
and that was the
Yeah.
idea, to
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah,
encompass
I agree.
that.
What was the language you said here? Projections
Dan,
attached?
I sent it to you in a separate, my edits here, which is right there, but it's projections attached to the principal residence that are open at the sides but roofed, such as decks, patios, carports, gazebos, and balconies shall be included in the building footprint. And principal is spelled wrong in your version, but spelled right in mine. Have you worked this one?
And
Yes.
I would not call it residence because it's a building. I mean, it could be a commercial building that we have to define building footprint to as well. So I don't think I would call it attached to the principal dwelling. It's attached to the principal building.
Building or
Building,
structure, yeah.
Okay, I had principal residence, sure,
Building.
sure, that's good, That's-
Principal building,
Yeah.
you're right, cause
that's good.
it's right, it needs to apply, you're absolutely right, it needs to apply to buildings which are
Yeah,
not.
yeah, residences.
It
Yeah.
is a building footprint, that's what.
It is, yep,
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And you had structure rather, but either way, structure of building is the
Yep,
principal
structure,
structure.
right, and it's really, that's what we're talking
Yeah,
about here,
exactly.
it doesn't matter whether it's a residence or
Right.
not. Yep.
Good.
Okay,
Oh, boy, we're only on Bs.
Yeah, I know. Hold on, I'm just gonna save this just so we don't lose our work here.
Yeah, cause it's 7:20 and we're still in the Bs.
Never a lot of Cs. Or ladies.
If it was
No.
names, wait till you
And
get to.
actually,
S's.
I'm gonna, after I want a discussion of this build to line concept, I don't have a lot more than I'll be
Okay.
a pain in the ass. A few things, but
okay, build to line, that's the next one.
was this discussed and agreed on as a thing? It's,
I think it was in my audit. It came from my audit.
so,
build
Nan,
to
does
line.
this mean that every house has to be the same distance from the road? That's how I
It-
read it.
Yes, it depends, it's
Barn plan.
important in location, more dense locations, like in hamlets and villages, you see the build to line, because it's not so much the setback that matters, it's where the houses are. That creates that continuity in the streetscape. So the build to line is a concept that helps, and it doesn't have to be required in rural areas, but it's quite important, I think, in more traditional neighborhoods where all the houses were lined up in the same spot or close to it. Usually the rules are that they can't vary from that average build to line by more than a few feet. Some of them are written in a way that allows that the build to line is, you take the average of two buildings on either side of where your lot is and you use that. So it depends on how you write it.
Okay, so like Nancy said, so in Varna maybe, but not in other more. rural-
Right,
And I
right.
can imagine you have a deep 4 acre lot, but you don't wanna build. The other existing, you wanna put it way back in the corner, okay,
Right, exactly.
okay, in the design guidelines, okay, got it.
I mean, if we're talking about 5 acre lots, it doesn't matter.
So it's just a term we might use in certain zones, saying
Right.
it has to be.
Probably name the commercial
I get
side,
Okay.
right?
Probably more on the commercial side, maybe, yeah.
Well, because you're not,
Yeah.
commercial, they're supposed to line up, so
Yeah,
one
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
overpower the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's building,
Yeah, I don't know why, I don't know if I missed that one or if I left, I took out, while you were talking, since we changed this one to buildable area, there was a hanging on piece of this sentence that said something like see building area. But I think we should take this out because we have buildable area now here.
I think
Yeah,
buildable,
yeah,
yes, I agree with
that's
you.
good, Yep.
Yep.
Oh, no, we're C.
Campground,
You know, so this is where if you want to address glamping in this phase, you can decide, and I don't know if I added it in, let me look before I
thought you
speak.
did. I felt like I had read
You did.
somewhere under G.
Glamping, so I added it in as a separate use and kind of
Okay.
a subset of what a camping unit is, but if you
Yep.
don't want to go to that great length, then just add glamping in your campground definition.
I like it
Depends
separate.
on how you want to treat it.
I would keep it separate.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
I think it's makes sense.
Trails, recreation vehicles, cabins.
Change of use.
Well, there's a minor change to campground that includes recreation vehicles, cabins. Cabins in a campground?
Yeah.
Small
Okay,
ones.
small cabin, okay, right. Change of
They used
use.
to be before RVs.
So I'm not sure you asked me to do this, but this is one of my things, is because it seems to be a question that comes up a lot of times that aren't adequately addressed in zoning, and that is like if you have a building that's existing and it's it's a office building and that goes out of business and the building is then used for a daycare center. That's a change of use, and a lot of questions arise at the planning board level as to does a change of use that doesn't change the parking, it's an allowed use, it doesn't change the sign or the location or the size, they're just moving into an existing building. Does it need planning board or town board review for any kind of permit? So it's a larger concept, but I like to have the folks I work with make a decision about that, because I see an awful lot of unnecessary trips to the planning board when there is a change of use in a building and it doesn't change a darn thing other than the name that's painted on the window, or the sign is in the exact same spot. But yet if there's a change of use and they're increasing the size of the building, or they're adding parking, or they're doing some change that would precipitate other rules, yes, it needs to be evaluated. So I just like to include the definition of change of use to give you clarity so that we can later on make sure that the rules give everybody clarity about what your expectations for that are.
Yeah, we've had things come up about this.
Yeah, we've had some issues where we were wondering why specific projects came before us, because it fit with zoning, it fit with.
So would it make
everything.
sense to say allowable change to one of the other allowable uses?
Where are you reading?
So in the change of use, so like a use variance is really almost an impossible thing to get in zoning, you have to. So, but this, and because you're
Yeah, you're right. It is an other allowable
allowable
uses.
uses, would I sort of take that, because that's the issue with zoning, it's not allowed, people are trying to use it for something that's not allowed in that table. And so it would distinguish that from what is a use variance, right, don't you think that would?
Correct. I totally
Yeah,
agree.
that's
Yeah,
accurate.
that's the intent.
Yeah, okay.
And this also covers if somebody takes, like we talked about, they don't change the footprint of the building, but let's say they now want to throw a crypto mining facility into this little thing, because we have, once we are passed and we have some kind of data center law in place, right, then because that's something that's covered, that's a change of use that's already covered under law, then it would be caught that way, right? Because even though they're not changing anything about the outside of the building, it would require the special use permit or whatever. Right, yeah.
And the other thing that goes along with the change of use is, and this does happen fairly frequently, you have a building that's for instance, a restaurant. And it was, only open and it closed at 9 o'clock or whatever time. And then You get another restaurant that is gonna be an all-night restaurant, and that change, it's the same
That-
footprint, but it changes the intensity of the use.
The elm tree.
So that covered, well, that's the other thing I was wondering, is like, let's say you have something that gets very little traffic, like it's a. I don't know, what, something that gets very little traffic and now something goes into that same space, doesn't change the parking lot, doesn't change the building. None of that, but now it's something that's gonna generate 10 times the traffic.
Right,
That would be one that would trigger, right, a review
Correct.
or.
I mean, I would recommend that it does.
Yeah, or extending hour, I like the hours one, cause that's the other one is, so now somebody takes a place that's a restaurant, turns it into a bar. And keeps it running till 1 a.m. with loud music. That's not a good thing, right, depending on where it is,
Right,
so, yeah, okay. I get it, alright, good,
Good.
clearing and grading. That seems pretty straightforward.
The only thing I had with that is that something we wanna dabble with fill material a little deeper with. We can talk about that later too.
As in a fill ordinance,
Yeah,
Okay,
that might be good. But that wasn't in phase one.
I know, but.
well, and it's
I
not
only
really,
I only bring it up to start, cause I know it's a whole nother, worm.
Yeah.
but a pill ordinance would be separate from this definition, it wouldn't, a
Right.
pill ordinance wouldn't necessarily change this definition.
It wouldn't change. You might reference it. though.
Right,
That's all.
Could we put a picture of the big pit by?
yeah. Yeah.
That's in the design guideline.
That's-
It's what not to do. To go next to the house that's being buried, right?
Alright, clustered cottage development.
and this was added, because we were, I think, in this phase was, addressing some of the housing,
Right,
expanding the types of housing we would allow. So that was one that had been talked about in my audit, and I forget which one of the meetings that it came up in. And again, I'm not sure whether ultimately you will decide this is something you want to promote.
No, I think we do.
hey Dan.
The part that. In the use tables, it says you need the water and sewer to put one of these in, so when we get to there, we'll talk about that.
Okay,
I
I
don't
just wanted to
believe
look
it.
at something that Brad sent earlier.
I mean, I don't know if I should bring this up now, I talked about it before was, adding some definitions, which are co-housing, community land trust, and for that matter, mobile homes versus manufactured homes, making that distinction.
yeah, I thought I addressed the manufactured home versus mobile, but the co-housing in, what was the other one?
It's there, the community land trust. is
Community
Oh,
there.
land.
community land trust, yeah, I
Is it?
don't think we
Okay.
added those.
Okay.
It's there.
I mean, I have no problem adding them if we need to
No,
now.
it's in there, great. I mean, I had some printouts and people can have them if they were interested.
Yeah, I think that the whole issue always with mobile home versus manufactured home is always one to address. Let me get there.
The mobile home is kind of
Yeah, so I added, I added a bunch to manufactured home. Mobile home I changed, so yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, it's about data manufacturer, but
Yeah.
the other thing I was wondering about is just allowing manufactured. Housing, modular housing in all residential districts, so it's not such a, kind of remove that stigma.
Right.
It's outdated.
Yeah, it is, and I think that was mentioned in the audit that I did, that per New York State rules, manufactured housing are really supposed to be considered any place where a single family home is
Can be
allowed.
built, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, state code,
Yeah,
or state law.
Yeah, it was kind of recent.
so what made me think about Brad at this point is we were to the CLs and I was thinking CL, so we're in the right place, but it's already in here, the one I was looking for is already in here, which was the community land trust.
Yeah.
Any interest in co-housing?
Well, co-housing, if there was gonna be a definition for co-housing, which I agree with you that there probably should be. Or what do people think?
What is co-housing according to you?
I got some stuff for you here.
I'm
Well,
not moving
let's-
anywhere.
well, let's-
Just tell me what. it
Why don't we
is.
do the, why don't, I don't know if we wanna take a lot of time on that right this.
No, and I wasn't suggesting.
Yeah, but what we could do is maybe
That's not.
offer some suggestions for a co-housing definition.
Mhm.
And
Are you talking about cooperative housing?
no,
Do you have an elevator speech? You can tell us quickly what it is.
It's where there are some shared facilities, but separate units and.
It's a bunch of those college town
It's
apartments, yeah.
sort of like intentional in a way, but it's another option for affordable or attainable housing.
So like a community kitchen.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, they
Okay.
do that over at the Eco Village in
Okay.
Ithaca,
Okay.
but
Okay.
just memorializing it so that it's, it's a.
Sure.
You know, I visited
Other than
Camp Tyne
that,
Island
too.
in Saugerties, and it was fascinating. You know, the people who've been living there for 25 years since it opened. And you know, that day they were celebrating the 92nd birthday of one of the original residents. And it's beautiful. It's really, very nicely done, and they got into it back in the 1990s for what was then affordable. But they have shared.
So the idea would have a definition, but then we'd have to get it into the uses, right? We'd
Yes.
have to get it in.
Right.
More
Yeah.
importantly, yeah, so
Yeah,
that makes sense. Where it can go
Make it an
and-
option for, and,
So where
Are they
they can go
sharing
and how it
kitchen?
can go.
they could share a kitchen.
Or they could
can
not
kind of
share the
set
kitchen,
their
they
own-
could just share
Like
the
it's
living
like-
space,
So-
the living room, right?
There's flexibility there.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because kitchens, having lived in a lot of cooperative housing, the kitchen space is hard to share
Yeah,
and be happy.
Well,
So the idea is to put it in the definitions and then later on, you've got to get it into
There-
where.
so
where-
what I suggest, because it hasn't been put into
Right,
this so far,
right.
my suggestion would be to.
Decide what they want to share.
Yeah.
Both things. at
it's
the
phase
same
2
time.
or however you want
To
to
try
do
to
it.
come up, to come up with a definition, suggested definition, what we could get in.
It's in there.
And then we
It
can
could be
go
a
from
phase
there.
2, because you
Yes.
had more time to
Yep,
think about how to put it in
Yeah.
there.
That has a few different items in there.
okay. What are we on?
Commercial horse boarding.
Commercial horse boarding.
Yeah, I added these because that's what's in the definition at the Ag
Yeah.
Markets 25
And
AA.
horses riding, yep, I agree. Any other comments on that? Community character,
Character.
Saw the
Isn't that you,
$10,000
Craig?
on it. What else was on there?
Are you the community character?
Put it in there. Make you happy.
It would,
Mhm. Did get paid.
yes.
Okay, that's. what-
Community land trust.
Yeah, we'll just add it.
all right, so we've defined, so
Yeah.
no comments on community character.
No.
Community land trust. Is now there's a definition, that's a new definition in here for community land trust.
Long-term affordable, okay, or
Yeah.
attainable.
Yeah.
Either way, I guess.
Mhm.
I would add the word after community and before through, the word usually. More than half the land trusts in the country have rental units, so it is to build equity. It's technically correct, but let's make it a little more open to different tenures.
So what do you want to say?
Just after community and before through, put usually.
So on behalf of a place-based community.
Customarily.
Or customarily or something through equity sharing and ground rents.
So
Usually, or I thought we took out customarily because no one knew what it meant.
That was a joke.
That was a joke.
That was a joke.
Oh, okay.
It's not us.
She just wanted to stir us up.
we're good with that?
Yeah. I think, yeah, no objections to that. Compatible in scale. This is the new definition.
Mhm.
But it seemed good.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah,
good.
that was good.
Complete application. Ooh, yeah, we want that.
Yeah, that's a really important one.
Yeah.
I'm
And
sorry.
John's comment on this one is, did it need to include requirements as defined in our chapter 240 and 270?
What do you think, right?
Yeah, I think.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it outlines.
So
the
that,
Things that are needed in the application. Yeah.
So in addition to review under seeker, it would be against the requirements in chapter 240 and 270.
is that what you wanted?
Yeah, include
Yep.
all required survival work. Yep,
Actor compatible with scale. Is massing really a word?
Where is it?
Massing?
so
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
okay. I'm here to learn.
Okay. Comprehensive plan, this should just be a definition of what a comprehensive plan is.
well, I assume the reason why it was originally in there is there were probably references to the comprehensive plan,
Mhm.
just those
Yes.
comprehensive plan, that word. So this expands that phrase to be specific
Mhm.
to our plan.
Mhm.
So you wanna, I mean, we could add this back in and say, I mean, I think what I objected to was the date, that it's now outdated.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of having a date in there because it's,
Right,
I mean, this is definitions, it's not,
Yeah.
yeah. Because if you put a date in there, every time you change the comprehensive plan, you gotta change
Change the.
Change this
name.
definition.
You don't make it.
well, maybe instead of starting it with a documents, the document.
The document prepared in, yeah,
Mhm.
so it's the document, whatever the last document is that the town did pursuant to this law, yeah.
Yep.
I agree, yeah. Anything else? I am trying to move us along a little bit, I know, but I don't want people to feel that we're going too fast. So comprehensive subdivision, or conservation subdivision, I'm looking right at the word. Why I can't say that, I don't know.
So the difference is that the conservation subdivision refers to the method that we use to design a subdivision, the lot layout and the roads and all of that. When we create lots, the conservation development design incorporates many of the same design performance expectations and requirements for open space that you see in a conservation subdivision, but they're not subdivisions. So it would be like someone is putting in a multifamily development that's, 4 buildings on one parcel. That's not a subdivision, but it can be developed with the same conservation methodology. So that's the difference between the two.
Okay.
And I have a question. Historically, conservation subdivisions usually have a minimum of 50%, sometimes 70% of the land
Right.
was. So, it kind of flips the logic. You start with a commitment to a certain minimum of conservation, and then you fit the development into the remaining space with a lot of flexibility.
Correct.
Are we doing that here?
Yes, that is, all of those things are outlined in later on. And then there was a whole section which you may or may not want to do that that outlines those things in the subdivision law for subdivisions.
Okay,
So here we're just defining what a conservation subdivision is, and it says where a majority of the remaining land is left.
Yeah.
Which is fine for this, so then, but then there's a further subdivision law or code which does all the things you're talking about.
Yeah.
And
I
so-
don't like to add the actual rules in the definition.
Right,
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 right.
I agree, because then every time you rewrite the section, you gotta rewrite the definitions.
Yeah.
thank you.
There's spacing issues in contractors' yard.
Yeah, I know. Those were, I can fix
Nice.
those.
So
Can't be looking too hard now.
It's true competition.
Yeah, it's good.
So does this, just kind of my own curiosity, this conservation development design? Is this kind of along the lines of what we just did with this one site plan review where, you know, they were putting additional dwelling units on it, but and we had to show that it could be subdivided.
The 338 Lower Creek
Yeah,
Road.
338 Lower Creek Road.
It really fit all the requirements of a standard subdivision, so we didn't force it. We could have done it under this conservation development design.
Right,
And
but
made them a little more dense, clustered towards the road or towards the pond. But we didn't, we kind of made it work
But is
in
there
a
a-
conventional way.
so then later on, I know this, I'm skipping ahead, does this later on, is there a subdivision design? Like a difference between a subdivision and a subdivision development design?
The design part, the way it's done and what you're hoping to attain are the same. The only real difference is that in the conservation subdivision, you're creating separate lots. In the
Right.
conservation development design, you're just placing the buildings
Okay. Yeah.
in
Yeah,
that,
and-
using that conservation method.
And that's what we just did, but what was challenging in that aspect was there's not this, there didn't appear to be this distinction between where a subdivision where you're actually changing the lines
Mhm.
and a subdivision where you're, and a subdivision review where you're actually, it's really just a design. It's not, they're not actually gonna go through and subdivide it.
That's
Yeah.
right. Here's what happened, because it came to zoning. Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, like think of also like, one of the reasons that I added this in was think about the formerly called mobile home park that now
Right.
we call manufactured home park. Many of them are not individually owned lots. They're, you know, you
Right.
rent a space. That is not a subdivision.
That's right, yeah, okay. All right, so it is 7:45. What I'd like to do is finish through the end of this next page. Which brings us through customary use, and let's stop there on this, because I would like to take a few minutes to talk about. The phase 2 planning, we need to approve some minutes. And just talk about future meetings on how we move forward. Is that okay with people? I just don't want to keep us too much past 8 o'clock, I guess is what I'm trying to say. People okay with that? Okay. So, so we just finished development design, convenience store, I think is where we're at now. I think that's reasonable. Cottage,
Do we need the square foot definition in there?
well, I mean, a cottage is really I mean, the definition of a cottage is a small cottage, so you kind
Yeah,
of.
I'm not sure. I don't remember if,
Well, I was talking about the convenience store, sorry.
Oh, sorry,
convenience,
convenience store.
yeah.
All right, we're still on convenience store.
well, you have, I'm getting my communities mixed up. Don't you have something for small, neighborhood retail, you call it? I'm thinking somewhere else. In your use table that is, you have a 5,000 square foot limit on the size. That's why I think I put that in. But we could take that out because we haven't put any of those rules in anywhere else. But then it would, whatever square footage you want later on would have to be in, you know, captured somewhere else.
Right, because
Is
there's,
it the use table, that 5,000 square feet?
I think we have a limit. I mean, in Varna, you have a building size limit, but I don't think townwide.
Okay, I might be misremembering.
Wouldn't it make it more flexible if you took that square footage out?
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, it would.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't ever.
What if somebody wants to build 1 million square foot convenience store?
Well.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's gets back to,
That's not convenient. I'm sorry.
no, but it gets back to a really important question about scale and what is right for the town. Is that, you know, maybe someplace a really, you know, a big box store is okay, but in other places it's not. And so I think scale and square footage limits is very much something to think about in relationship to meeting the you know, the
Right.
community character expectations that the plan set up.
Well, but if
So-
there's a place, you know, so if we're defining, so this says it's a retail establishment, so maybe in this case, we don't need to have the square footage.
We don't have convenience store in the table, you
Right,
know, so that's.
But I would
what
say it's a retail establishment.
Yeah, it would be under retail establishment or retail business, retail shopping, so retail business, right?
right, but then where we're setting the square footage limits is more on the retail establishments, right, like. For example, if somebody wants to build a Walmart. On Route 13 by NYSEG. Are there limitations that prevent them from doing that?
It seems like we have
Yeah,
That's
a
what I
large
think.
retail
Yeah, yeah.
requirements.
Yeah, like 40,000 or something.
Yeah.
So
So
there's a new.
yeah, so
review.
as long as we have those, you know, because again, you know, I don't think somebody's gonna wanna build a 50,000 square foot. Convenience store, but. You know, maybe they call it a convenience store, but it's really a grocery store.
How big are the burn areas?
I mean, those are, they're bigger, some of those burned dairies are much bigger than 5,000 square feet.
Yeah, they might be 8.
Yeah,
So, you know,
Well-
and I think going along with with the theory and the philosophy that it's not good to put the actual rules in the definition.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with taking
Right.
that out
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah,
good.
I think that's fine, take it out of the definition.
and just make sure that later on, if you want to put any kind of scale limitations on any of these uses, we have to address that in another place.
Right,
Much
right.
better.
Well, why are we distinguishing convenience store? Because
Yeah.
I would just see it as a retail business.
Yes, well, right, I could have sworn there was something about retail. Cause remember maybe it was when we were talking about the data centers, we used 5,000 square foot and that was in at least the LI districts. Somewhere there's a 5,000 square foot limit. I'd have to look that up.
Right, but I think the distinction between, to Ray's question, I think the distinction, personally, I think the distinction between a retail operation and a convenience store is when you start adding fuel and all that other stuff to it.
The fuel, yeah,
Yeah, but then I think we have a gas station as a use.
you do.
Right,
Which
but
would have a
is a
different
convenience
review.
store a gas station or a retail establishment?
It's both. That's why I added it in.
Yeah, we don't have it in.
So I guess the question is, do we need a distinct definition of a convenience store?
Well, I'm thinking you do think so?
Why not?
Well, then it needs to go in the use table.
We need to put it in the use
Use
table.
table,
Yeah, sure, then we'll put it in the use table.
Yeah, put it there.
Ray doesn't think we need it.
You don't think we need it, right?
Why wouldn't we just review it as we would review a gas station and a retail business?
Two,
We do that.
two separate ones,
Yeah.
two separate, okay, we can do that, if you're good with it, I'm good with it.
So
Take it out entirely?
Yeah, take it out entirely. Yep, I think that's where we are.
Because otherwise, if we search for hybrids, we'll find a whole bunch of other
Yeah.
hybrids that are
Right.
maybe worthy of listing and.
Yeah.
Cottage, this is a new definition. Now, this one, I think you do need a square footage in because you need to define, because a cottage is defined as a small, single family dwelling, right? So it's, I think you do need a square footage in that one.
It's like a triple tiny home.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's somewhat arbitrary. There's no hard and fast rule that it has to be less than 1,200 square feet. You know, tiny homes are much smaller than that, but that's up to you. That was, you know, kind of a standard general thing I thought sounded
I would use
reasonable for you.
1400, but
1400?
because you can build a house under 1400 square feet without a stamp, sorry. You don't have to have an architect stamp,
You don't have to have an architect stamp to stay under 1400 square feet? Oh, that's a nice thing. to do.
unless if it's a bizarre, the building inspector has, when it does the permit, it says, oh yeah, you gotta get that load calculated.
Yeah.
If it's got some weird spans, he has the right to do
Yeah.
that, but I think it's 1399 that can build without a
I
permit.
thought it was 1500, but yeah, but it still has discretion by the.
Yeah, but I would
Yeah.
push that one because if it's about affordable housing, it's might as well max it out, because 1200, you're only talking a 2-bedroom house that. Probably could do 3, but
But I don't know, my house is only 1800 square feet, I wouldn't call my house a cottage.
Yeah, I think there's, right, I mean, I think there's a distinction between houses that don't need to be stamped versus a cottage, we're talking.
Yeah.
We're talking really more of tiny-ish kind of homes.
Yeah.
you're talking like a pocket neighborhood then.
Yes, yes,
So you're talking like a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom with a loft.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Modified, so
Well, it specifically says it's part of a cottage, clustered cottage development.
Yeah.
Right.
So if it's all by itself, it's not a cottage.
Right,
Like-
right.
It's a tiny home.
Just for context, 1200 square feet can be a 3-bedroom dwelling.
I know.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I guess it's a 3-bedroom cottage in that case.
Sure.
Customary use,
You know what I think about that? I mean, what does that say? Does that definition of customary use tell you anything?
They're
customary.
saying old
Okay.
style.
It is the definition that is used in almost every zoning code, though.
But what does it mean? I mean,
It
that's my
means
question.
that it's incidental and subordinate to whatever the main use of the property is.
But we've said incidental and
They
support.
spelled principle correctly.
Yeah, okay. It's like, I just don't understand, like, it doesn't give an example. We've said incidental and subordinate where that is important. Does anybody know what that means?
It's very obscure.
You like it? I
No.
mean, I don't like it because I don't know what it means.
I read it as like something a lawyer would write.
Yeah, and so I really don't like it. And so that would be, if someone could tell me why you need that and what it means, then I wouldn't.
Code would probably be fine without it.
So that's what I would say, get rid of it.
Ray,
I'm failing to come up with a use case for it. I'm sorry.
But she says it's in every zoning code.
Yeah.
the lawyer.
That's because lawyers.
That's right.
If we don't put it in, the lawyer might put it in when the lawyer
Well,
reviews
let's
it.
find out.
Ask him.
I mean, we can highlight this and think about it.
Why, Ben, why?
We can ask them why.
Get them to define it or give us a.
Tell us why.
It's a part of the boilerplate.
I guess in reading it, another question, to me, the language doesn't bother me as much as is it the same exact thing as an accessory structure? But it's not, so the difference is that there's an accessory structure, which is something on the ground, and an accessory use is not necessarily anything that's building or attached to the ground, but like, so think of a school, and then they purchase a piece of land to put a ball field in. The ball field is customary use that typically goes along with the school. It's not a structure. But I guess the question is, can we get rid of this? Not because of the language, but because we already have that defined under accessory.
Mhm.
And let me go back and see what we had. Did we have accessory structure and use? Yes, so we have these two that I think that this,
Redundant.
Yeah, that's.
I don't mind the language, but I do think it is somewhat redundant.
Yeah, okay,
Good.
all right.
Hey, we're at the bottom of the page.
We're at the end of the page, so we're gonna stop this for now. This was sent to everybody, and I know that you've reviewed it, everybody's reviewed it, so continue to review it, so for the next meeting. we will continue on. Hopefully we can get through more of it.
Well, we got a lot of letters to go.
But, yeah, let's turn the light on, I think. I think we turn the light on.
Three.
Originally, we had an objective of if everybody submitted comments, we
Right.
compile them, we'd have a single document to go through, and we'd have all the comments.
All the comments, we can do it.
Being tracked.
Tried to do it, but it wouldn't save the comments.
Huh.
So I just sent Nan my comments separately, but, so I tried saving the doc through, and then it didn't work. So I tried not saving it and doing it that way, but it just didn't
Okay.
seem, and Craig had the same
I
problem.
can't even open this on any mobile device. Like, on my
Yeah,
computer,
that's
but
right.
on my
Yeah,
phone.
so.
I tried to do it through my phone.
It said it was a shareable document and that you could review it and edit, but it didn't seem to save anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't be editable.
Yeah, it seemed to, when I opened the PDF, it seemed to imply that,
And
but
then you're the original author, you wanna try it again to do a save and make sure there's no, read only or anything.
Yep.
turned on.
Yes.
And
Send
just
it along.
send me a fresh one and we'll see if that works better for people.
passed around.
Because it would-
Okay.
If we could get, yeah, if we could get comments ahead of time, I think that would speed things up.
Yeah.
Yes, that would, and I mean, there might be if if there's something that everybody has no comment and we know that ahead of time, we can just skip by.
Save it. So then I saved it in Word.
Okay, so,
No, there was just the one she had. I don't think John's comments got integrated into.
No, but I've been pulling that up.
Right, exactly. So I think we've all had comments, but they're not in one document.
right,
And it's some technical thing that's
right,
not.
so we'll try between now and the next meeting, we'll try to do that, if we can. If we can come up with one that people can edit and try to submit some things ahead of time, so maybe we can get it all into one document. Sort of speed our review a bit. The other thing we need to start doing is looking at phase two and what we want to incorporate in phase two. Now, in the meeting agenda email that I sent out a document that Ray had created, which kind of took the original
Mhm.
total audit, right, and then added some pieces in. Do people have ideas of what they think should be in phase two? I mean, I think we need to finish whatever's housing. I think finishing housing is a big part of it, right? Yes,
Design guideline,
design guidelines would be good for phase two, right?
get to know them, so you know
Yeah.
where they flow into the rest of it,
Yeah.
if you're gonna make it.
Did John and Nan not agree on kind of the key elements for phase two?
No,
Yeah, I don't think we've ever really had a
no,
big
no,
discussion
we,
about it.
when John created all that stuff for phase one, it really was phase one. We never got into a phase two. You know, now the question is, could phase two just be everything else left? I think there's still too much to try to do phase two as everything else. So I think we need to do it. I think we at least need to do phase two, figure out what those priorities are, and then phase three
Given our
to finish.
getting through the alphabet difficulty.
Yeah.
Are we reviewing the actual quantity and description or title of districts? Are we looking at that?
Yeah, that's a whole big topic of redesign, thinking about
Is
that.
that something we're gonna be doing?
We will be doing.
Okay.
The question is it phase two, is it phase three, or is it something else, right? And it's. I mean, eventually, we're gonna be doing it all, right? I mean, that's the whole goal here, is to get through the whole zoning code. But I guess, we wanna try to take it off in chunks that we're able to actually accomplish some things and get them in place. Without taking 5 years to do it, right? That kind of is kind of where we were. So I guess, I mean, how do people feel? Do you feel prepared to kind of talk about phase two at this point, or do you want to just think about what was sent out? We'll gather some more information. I mean, like I said, I think the rest of housing is a good one. I think the design guidelines are, I'm not sure, when we get into quantity and the stuff you just mentioned. To me, I think we need to get through more of the other zoning code before we can do that piece. So I don't see that necessarily as phase two, but it will be done.
Okay.
Are there things which are painful for the ZBA, which we may want to, like, and one of the things that comes to mind, I know it's been talked about several times, is the sign ordinance, right?
Yeah, that's something that's in my list of things. I'll have to think a little, yeah, sign ordinance is a good one.
Yep.
Um.
So how about this,
Think about
if people want to send me. Just send me some comments about what you think should be in phase 2.
Okay,
And at the next meeting, we'll go through that list. And figure out what we think should be in phase 2. Do that.
And to kind of guide that process, that sheet, the phase 1 and 2 that Tony sent to the agenda.
right.
That was generated by Gina to get us. What you went through was the exercise of seeing the entire audit that was done by NAM and a lot of other pieces that were complaints over the years. Put that list together, said, here's what we've already tackled in phase 1, here's the remainder list. So if we look at that and then say, okay, here's what we want to do in phase 2, and then we'll again have a remainder list that will de facto be phase 3. So if you want to structure your comments around that document, that might be a good
Right.
way forward.
Was that sent with
It was sent with the stuff that I sent out with the
the
agenda.
zoning phase 2 project plan? I
Yep,
have?
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
okay, great,
It was sent with that.
great,
What about your list?
Well, it's incorporated at the end
yeah,
of this.
great. I see, yeah, it's at the end of it.
40
Good,
something,
okay.
what is it, 40?
Well,
Okay.
Because then you want it. So.
Did it,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, the allowable use choice.
Okay, oh, quick, sorry. Go ahead.
Quick question, this was probably covered in the very first ZAG meeting, but is anything that we are moving forward on moving into operative zoning law, or does everything have to wait
No,
until we finish?
the process is we get through this, we decide this is what we want to because remember, the town board is the ones that have to enact zoning changes. So the idea is very much like we did with data centers, is go through this piece, this phase 1. We figure out all the stuff that's done with phase 1. Once we're all in agreement that that's what we want to recommend to the town board, it'll get recommended to the town board, and then they can incorporate it into zoning while we're working on phase 2 and phase 3 and.
So in the same spirit as the data center, in terms of what to put into phase 2. Tony, do you have a sense, or Ray or anybody, what is most urgent? And shouldn't that preempt anything else? Or maybe you've already done that and we're on that course.
The stuff that was really urgent got pushed into phase 1.
Yeah,
Like
unless it was
distance battery,
controversial.
unless it was controversial.
So I'd say in general, the town board tasks the planning board with focusing on things like the BES and data center in the first phase, which we've done. Then the next priority that I think we've heard from the town board is housing.
Is housing,
So that would probably be the focus of phase 2.
right?
Okay.
But I think there are some things we can do that are related to appeals and
Yes.
maybe subdivision and some of those kind of things. Cause that subdivision was another one that I think thought we would.
Yes.
Because we talking about the phase
Definitions have
2.
already would help the ZBA a
Yeah.
lot, just that.
Yeah. So the idea is no, we're not gonna get through, we're not gonna wait until everything is done to recommend that to the town board for them to chug through and then turn into zoning code, right? So it's, and actually enact. The idea is, the whole idea behind the phasing was that pieces of this would go into, actually into active zoning code as it's being done.
So this
Regarding-
co-housing stuff. we're
regarding
talking about
definitions,
phase
though, we
2
might
housing.
add new
Yeah.
definitions
Do you have
after
more than one
phase 2.
piece I can take?
Right.
I mean,
There
well,
might
and
be some,
even
yes.
Each
I
stage
just
will be
want,
going
I
back
just
to
don't want, I
definitions.
wanted to know like.
We may, hopefully we've gotten, but
I'm gonna
But
give
we
you.
may.
Yeah, no, I just wondered if I could take.
But if there are changes, you're right, the problem with doing this iterative process that we're talking about. The downside of doing it is, especially this definition section. It may need to be modified more than once.
Yeah.
Because as we get into
Yeah.
phases
Yeah.
2 and 3, there may be changes to the
That makes sense.
definitions
Yeah,
that come out of it. But hopefully they're targeted changes, so they're not things that take huge amounts of time or discussion or.
But that old adage that if it's not in the zoning law, does that mean if it's not defined in the zoning law or if it's not addressed in
It's
the
not
zoning law?
allowed,
Yeah. It's not allowed.
it's not allowed.
So if it's not defined in the zoning law, it's not allowed, or if it's not.
No, well,
Get on the table.
sometimes
Allowed
there's
use
things in the
table.
use table that are allowed but not defined and they're still allowed.
Yeah.
But then just no one knows what it might be.
Right, but if there's a definition for, let's say there's a definition. Let's say there's a definition for the, what was it, cottage development or something? But there's
Yes.
nothing in the allowed use table that says. If it's not defined in the allowed use table that you can put this in this zone,
Mhm.
it's not allowed.
Right, well, that's the convenience store issue. We
Yeah,
have a
right.
definition, but no convenience store in the
Right,
allowable
right.
uses, so.
Right,
Yeah, what
We're
about
trying to make sure that that doesn't.
yes, we need to make sure that doesn't
what
happen,
about
right?
exotic food store?
Would be a
What phase
retail.
is
Exotic
allowed?
snacks, exotic snacks.
I think we're doing allowed use now. Are we doing
Is
allowed
that
use?
phase one, phase two?
There will be.
There are
modifications
changes to
allowed
the use table now.
Yeah, and she's made some good ones in there.
And the allowed use tables, that's another table that likely will get modified in each
In
phase.
phase two, okay, allowed use is.
Yeah, she has dealt with certain things within there, but yeah, to make sure that anything we allow is in the definitions and vice versa, I think it's fine.
Okay.
But that wasn't happening.
Nan, I do have some questions for you around this phasing and how
Yep.
this will work, but I will email them to you.
Oh, okay, okay.
Haggis, the store specializing in haggis.
Minutes from the last,
Yeah.
I have,
minutes from the last ZAG meeting. Did anybody read them?
I didn't need to, I can't vote.
Well, I can't vote on them either because I wasn't at the last meeting. But can we approve the minutes? You guys wanna?
That went through, what, that was Frank made them and they went through multiple iterations.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that was confusing. a little
So, all right,
Oh, I actually did.
do you move to approve the minutes?
Sure, I will.
All right.
Move to.
Second it. Bill seconds, all in favor of approving the minutes. 4 people voted for it, we're good, minutes are approved. The future topics one, I usually just throw that on the agenda to have it there, I think we've already talked about that, how we're gonna approach this next. The next ZAG meeting is December 4th. The next regular, we are combining, we're only gonna have one regular planning board meeting for December and for November and December, because both Thursdays that would normally be a planning board meeting fall on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I don't wanna have a planning board meeting on Thanksgiving and Christmas.
You'd be lonely.
I'd be lonely, so the regular planning board meeting is December 9th, I think, 9th.
It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday, right, that is not a Thursday. But we are having but the ZAG meeting schedule stays as it has been, so that there will be a December ZAG meeting, and we all know what we're doing for that.
Doing the.
All the way to Z.
We wanna get all the way through the rest of the definitions at least.
They just start with a Z.
Yeah,
Did you say something with December 10th?
9th,
Oh, good, okay,
it's a Tuesday,
okay.
December 9th is the next regular planning
Is
board
that
meeting.
this room or?
The regular planning board
No.
meeting,
Yeah, Zach will be here, regular meeting in the courtroom.
do you have a special,
Not to my knowledge, on the ninth?
not on the 9th, which is a Tuesday, you're not doing any kind of special meetings
No,
on the Tuesday, right?
But the ZAG meetings, fourth,
In here,
yes.
Yeah. 4th.
On the 4th,
Yes, December 4th,
okay.
okay,
Thank you, Nan.
are we good? Anything else?
Well, I would just ask that if you're gonna send the comments for the red line, this exercise we're going through, send it to me the week prior. So like by Friday, so I can get them actually compiled, so we can work through a compiled document.
Okay, you want the ones that are done already, or you'll have compiled them, I sent
Yeah,
it
we've
to
got it
her,
for
so
Steve,
she'll
so
do
we've
it.
got
So I'll
it.
send it.
When is the planning board meeting this month? There's one.
There is one in December,
I yoga while I.
we're gonna do a November, December planning board meeting.
I think we're adjourned.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
And.
bye, everybody.
Dan.
Yep. Bye.
Off the recording. Thank you, everybody. I know this, it's a lot, but